CFL Plus. Don't miss a moment. Oh, the irony. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Bomber reaction video. We have our second game and last game of the preseason, where the Bombers would defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders once again, this time by a score of 27-20. Get it done in Mosaic Stadium. And this game started off hot and then got really boring throughout the vast majority of it. Now, as you saw in the pre-intro here, I was talking about the CFL Plus. Oh, I have a bone to pick with CFL Plus. Now, I want to start off by the idea of CFL Plus is fantastic. The idea, especially for the global audience, that anyone can watch us for anywhere for free, doesn't cost anything. Great, great, lovely stuff. It was 5 minutes into the first quarter here before I was eventually able to get into it. Now, I'm glad that it was at least on. Now, I heard they also turned on a YouTube stream of this game, but again, that was not when the game started. They did that late as well. And so I missed the first touchdown of this game. Streveler threw to Wheatfall to get the Bombers the first touchdown. And it's hilarious because I have this error code and I'm trying to load it. Like I was talking to Rick, my co-host for Canadian Football Central, and he's like, no, you got to just keep doing it over and over again and it'll eventually work. So after a good 10 to 15 minutes of tinkering with this, I finally got it to work and play the game. And it's very laggy broadcasts. The audio and the video are not in sync. We're subjected to the riders. I don't know if it's the radio doing it or someone's calling the game and on the Saskatchewan feed. And I will say it's got to be some of the most abysmal play calling I've ever seen. I'm sorry, but it was bad. It was bad. Like there were certain things that were little blunders, but we'll get into it. Actually, I actually write some of this down. Camera cuts just couldn't. The amount of times where they come back from commercial and we'd miss like 2 or 3 plays, and it's like, why do we have to worry about the commercials? This is a preseason game that's non-televised on TSN. There are no commercials. Now, I understand there's still like the commercial timeout or whatever. But seriously, I would rather just see the feed, just have a blank camera just staring at the game and I wouldn't see anything, rather than them just going to some guy like Bo Levi Mitchell just holding a football going like this and I'm missing the play because of that. So I'm not going to lie, CFL Plus was awful. Just awful. Today. So the CFL, get your crap together. Should be a lot better with the TSN feeds. But, I had a bone to pick because I then finally get into the website and it says, CFL Plus, don't miss a moment. That's the tagline. Well, I missed a few moments. I missed the first touchdown of this game, the first touchdown between these two teams because they didn't get any last week. So yippee, I guess. So just the irony in that portrayal, but it is what it is. Anyways, first quarter. Yes, I missed the first touchdown. Jake Mayer is playing for Saskatchewan here, and I had said like the commentating is atrocious, and I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be like, I'm not even talking about atrocious in the sense of biased. And I can understand them getting certain players' names wrong. You know what I mean? That's fine. Like, especially some of the younger guys. I totally get it. But there were some pretty bad screw-ups, as we'll get to. There would be a huge pass for Dalton Schoen, and then a massive touchdown for Sarek Wheatfall. Again, second touchdown of the game for Winnipeg to go up 14-0 as Castillo hits the conversion. I'm not going to lie. Riders' attendance at this game was abysmal. Now, to be fair, I'm saying this comparing it to Winnipeg's attendance, which was unusually fantastic in the sense of the Bombers had around 28,000 people in attendance for their preseason game against Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan had 10,000 people there today. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it just looked bad on the cameras. But I understand. Now, Saskatchewan's always also been having a little bit of attendance issues in the past few years. Not necessarily like bad, like in trouble. Absolutely not. Saskatchewan is completely fine. I just mean in the sense of like they usually sell out all the time. And now it's just like it just is kind of declined a little bit I'm not actually trying to take a shot here. I'm just legitimately, that's an observation I'm making. Saskatchewan tries to get going, just can't get much. And then, here's the bad one. Jake Thomas gets a tackle. And the Saskatchewan commentator goes, "Oh, a nice tackle there by the young rookie, Jake Thomas." Jake Thomas is 34 years old and has been a huge staple on the defensive line for Winnipeg. And he hasn't even been changing teams. Like, he has been in Winnipeg for a while. You know, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's not like, that's a name I even expect someone in Saskatchewan, especially someone who works in the CFL, to know that name. Like, it's one of those things where we're not talking about a guy who's in and out of the rotation. We're talking about a guy who plays D tackle, who has been there for a while, and has been one of the more successful D tackles in the league, and extremely consistent. Him and Jefferson are there every year. Actually, I think he was there before Jefferson. I could be wrong, but 34 years old. Not a young rookie. Not a young guy. Not a rookie. Ouch. But anyways, there'd be a illegal contact on the punter. That totally was a penalty against Winnipeg. Yeah, no, we got to protect the punter there. Saskatchewan keeps possession. They'll start pushing it down. And then I wrote down, CFL showing me a WestJet ad instead of the Riders field goal. Good job, CFL Plus. 14-3 Winnipeg. So apparently Brett Lothar hit it. So there you go. And then Streveler goes in right near the end of the first quarter. Keep in mind, Streveler had thrown the first touchdown pass, and Caleros threw the second one. It's kind of weird. They started with Streveler, then threw Caleros in, then kind of went back to Streveler, but it is what it is. Second quarter, Streveler throws a pretty bad pick to start the second quarter. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That Streveler, I don't know where he was going with that. And then Saskatchewan starts pushing a little bit, and then Tanner Schmeckel, grabs a fumble and gets himself a touchdown. Convert is good, 21-3 for the Bombers, and the Bombers are already pulling away with this game early. Riders kind of push back a bit. They'll take a procedure penalty, and then there would be a huge punt return that the Bombers would get all the way up to the 11-yard line, but we take a penalty, brings it all the way back. And then this is when Artipos goes in. I don't know how to say his name properly. So I'm probably getting it wrong. My apologies. If someone knows the pronunciation of how you say his name, please let me know in the comment section down below, and maybe sound it out a little bit. But that's just what I'm going to go with. Artipos then gets sacked. I'm not going to lie. This is Wallace's fault. He completely whiffs his block on left guard. I'm not trying to take shots at the O-line here. I used to play O-line, and you could, when you get beat and they tackle your quarterback and you're standing behind there trying to kind of pull them off, you kind of have that shit, that one's totally on me. And so I saw that look. I know that look. I felt that look myself. I get it. But Riders would then push. Jonathan Jones would take defensive pass interference. Saskatchewan commentator said it was Tony Jones. No, it's not. That was Jonathan Jones. Two completely different people. They also said he was the middle linebacker. He's not. He's the outside linebacker. So it is what it is. Jake Mayer then throws a pick. Jake Mayer plays the majority of this game for Saskatchewan. Not going to lie. If I'm Saskatchewan, I really hope that Jake Mayer puts a better foot forward if Trevor Harris goes down and this is the guy who has to go in, because Jake Mayer looked rough today. He looked rough. And then, funny enough, so there'd be a big pass for Saskatchewan. They get it moving down the field. And then the Saskatchewan commentator, right before the play, says, let's see the offensive line hold up as Jake Mayer. They didn't get Jake Mayer the play before, but they got really close. They're like, let's see the O-line hold up, with lots of enthusiasm. Devin Adams proceeds to absolutely destroy Jake Mayer on the very next play, which just made me chuckle because that was just the commentator's curse. Brett Lothar then hits a 24-yard field goal, making this 21-6 for Winnipeg. It goes back and forth a little bit. Not much happens, and that's pretty much it to end the second quarter. We go into the third quarter, though. Cone is in for Saskatchewan. Riders start to push it. Brett Lothar hits a 53-yard field goal, making it 21-9 Winnipeg. He had missed one earlier in the game, but I forgot to write it down. But hits a long one, so gets it down for them. Good push by the Bombers, and then Cooley goes in and gets a run. Peterson was kind of doing some of the running earlier in the second quarter. I'm not going to lie. Cooley, in my opinion, is the better running back here. Quentin Cooley has been a lot more impressive to me than Peterson has. Again, no offense to him. Cooley's had more success. He just has. Then Castillo hits a 31-yard field goal, making this 24-9 for Winnipeg. The Riders try to push back. Hodge grabs a field goal for Saskatchewan. And then I just wrote down, this game is boring, because this is when it's just 1-2 punt, 1-2 punt, 1-2 punt, 1-2 punt. Occasionally push a little bit. Still have to punt. Occasionally push a little bit, maybe in field goal range. Give it a try. Yeah, you got it. Okay. And then it turned into a slugfest. And then the Bombers started to do one thing they're very good at, which is very boring football, but they just started running that clock down. I'm not going to lie. It's very much the football equivalent of 1990s New Jersey Devils trap hockey. Just get a lead, sit on it. And that's very much what they did. And to be fair, it worked very well for them. Riders get a field goal, making it 27-12 for the Bombers, and that would get us to the fourth quarter. Bombers push it a little bit. Sergio Castillo hits the field goal, 26 yards, making this 27-12 for Winnipeg. Goes back and forth a little bit more after that, and the Bombers would fumble it, and the Riders would pick it up for a touchdown for the most horrible touchdown celebration I think I've ever seen. I don't even know what he was doing. Kind of looked like one of those hardcore shows. If anyone is into like the metal scene or whatever, or not even metal, it's hardcore. So it's like metal, sort of punk, like where people like just flopping around, like just the ugliest mosh pit you'd ever see. But anyways, it's ruled incomplete. And now Corey Mace, head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, decides to challenge this play as he believes that this was a completed pass, that a fumble in which they picked up and brought it all the way back. And I thought there was a decent chance for that. However, it is ruled that it was a catch. However, he was down by contact, so the fumble does not count, which is kind of funny in the sense of that if Corey Mace didn't challenge his play, it actually would have turned out better for him, as because he was down by contact, the Bombers actually grabbed a couple of yards from that. So just kind of a funny thing that happened out of that. But Corey Mace fails on his challenge. Bombers still have possession. Not much gets going. They'll eventually have to punt. Jamison Sheehan looked good. Like, I'm not going to lie, Sheehan's punting has been very good this preseason. I really hope this continues. I thought last year was an improvement on the year before. It's looking like this year is an improvement on last year. So if that's the case, very pleased. And so, yeah, not a ton is happening. Riders would eventually get going very late in the game. And they would get a touchdown with 27 seconds left. Conversion is good. They would go for 2, actually, on that conversion, making it 27-20 for Winnipeg. And this is, again, one of those things where the Bombers playing that running the clock down type of football. They're able to grab a couple field goals here and there. Probably not more sort of touchdowns, but really allowing Castillo to kind of run that score up just a little bit while they just play lockdown defense. And it's one of those things where usually against teams, the reason it's successful is not necessarily that they won't give up anything, but by the time that they finally do, it's just too little, too late. 27 seconds left. Saskatchewan down by a touchdown. Like, it's just, there's just no time to do it. Bombers get possession. They knee out that clock. Final score, 27-20 Winnipeg, which now leads us towards the regular season. Bombers start week 2. They don't actually have a game in the first week. They have a first week bye, which for injuries is good, but for other stuff is just kind of but Zach Caleros will not play the Bombers' first game. He has a suspension, as I've mentioned previously, for not failing a drug test, but failing to report for a drug test. There was a bit of miscommunication, so he gets a 1-game suspension for that. Strevler, I expect to make the start against BC in week 2 for the Bombers. And then week 3, we should have Zach Caleros back. And also Peyton Logan might be back by then, as he is on injury right now. So that'd be very good for our returner spot. So Want to know what you guys thought of the game down below, or anything else just Bombers related, in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys leave a like, share it around, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you have not subscribed to the Canadian Football Central, which is where I do my league-wide CFL content along with my co-host Rick, make sure you subscribe to that. Also, check it out on Spotify. Leave 5 stars. We very much appreciate it. Peace, love, and positivity, all you wonderful people at home, and we will see you guys next time.